Hello everyone, I Professor Bhavit Kumar M. Kataria welcomes you into the video series of computer networks. We are discussing unit number 1, that is introduction. In our last session we have discussed understanding of network and internet. On that session we have discussed what is internet, what is network and what is computer. So if you are guys still remain to watch these basic terminologies, so you can click on I button at top right corner and you can watch that video. Now today we will discuss remaining topic, that is network edge and network core. So it is our second video session on computer network. Let's start first with the network edge. So whenever we will look any network, so whatever the device are located as an end system. So we can say that these devices are known as a network edge, like computers connected into the network, smartphones are connected into the network, or any devices are connected into the network. So these devices are known as a network edge. So whatever the computers or devices are connected in end part of a network, so we are calling that is network edge. And another thing, in terms of network, we are calling these devices as a end systems. So these devices are known as end systems in terms of computer network. So let's see this figure, so you will be able to understand in better way what is the network edge. So here few examples of networks, like it is mobile network. Few devices are connected with the wireless connectivity, like some persons are using a smartphone inside the car, or some persons are using laptops. So these devices are connected with the wireless connectivity into the mobile network. So this device, like if you consider this laptop, so this laptop we can say that that is a network edge. Edge means it is the end part of network. Then after, no further network expansion is available after the network edge. It means we can also say that it is a network boundary. Look like that is one another network, that is enterprise network. So here few devices like some desktop systems are available, some laptops are available, and these are the two servers. So these devices are known as a end system, or we can say that that is a network edge. Whatever it should be, like a mobile network or enterprise network or home network or any other type of network. Whenever inside the network there is a number of devices located at the end part or a boundary part of a computer network, these devices are known as a network edge. So hope you are understanding very well what is network edge. Now our second terminology is, that is network core. Core means indirectly we can say that that is a central part of a network. For example, let's see, that is the same mobile network. On that we have discussed network edge. But whatever the link or a cable is from router to the mobile towers. So this intermediate devices, cabling or routers are known as a network core. Another thing, if you will look here into the home network, so whatever the cables are there, repeaters are used, routers are used into the internet connectivity or a network connectivity. So these devices are known as a network core. Same thing here into the enterprise network. There are few routers you are looking, then after a few links, these are the wired links from router to desktop system or router to another expansion. So this thing is known as a central part of a network, and we are calling it as a network core. So hope now you are clear understanding with the network edge and network core. Let's see few examples of networks, like that is a home network. So it is a digital subscriber line. In earlier days, uh, before the availability of many private companies, people are using the internet of BSNL. So that is one landline phone, and another one, that is the internet connectivity. So both connectivities are available into the same line. So this line we are calling as a digital subscriber line. whenever internet is available from the service provider, so service provider will expanding the internet from starting point to the central offices like which are located into the cities, and from this type of central offices they are expanding the connectivity up to the client's home. And whenever this digital subscriber line arrived at a client's home, so there is the one splitter. The role of splitter is splitting the line. It means actually both connectivities are available into the digital subscriber line. One is telephone line and second one is internet access. So here splitter is distributing separately one line as a telephone line and another line as a internet connectivity. Here you can also see the DSL modem. You can also expand the internet by using the DSL modem. So this thing is example of a home network. Those network are people using at their home, and that is a simple type of network. There is no more complexity. So everyone can understand whatever the peoples are using at their home. Next, that is a cable internet access. Generally, coaxial cables are used in this network. Later on, we will discuss the transmission media. So at that time, I will briefly introduce the types of cable. But right now, keep in your mind that is a coaxial cable are used. And whenever internet is reaching from central offices to the like client side, so these cables are used at a fiber optic. Get it? But whenever there is a local offices are there, so local offices are distributing the services through the coaxial cable. So this type of network are not placing the fiber optic up to the client's home. Get it? From central offices to the local offices, there is a fiber optic, and from local offices to the client's home, there is a coaxial cable. So it is a combination of coaxial cable and fiber optic network. Next thing, that is fiber to the home, FTTH. It is a well-known technology available into the market from many years, but that was not famous in India. But right now still, Jio started to placing the fiber optics up to the client's home. If you will look any city, so generally you will found the fiber optics network inside the city. They have started from the mega cities, and then after district level. This thing is not available up to the taluka places right now, but Jio started this type of cabling network into the major cities. So that is directly fiber connectivity up to the client's home. It means we can produce more flexible internet or a network, and we can produce the high speed network according to the today's 21st century. Every people are demanding the high speed network connectivity. So this type of network is very useful in this category, and we will known it as a fiber to the home, FTTH. Next, that is one example of network access into the enterprise or a offices. So this type of network is known as Ethernet network. In majority organizations are using Ethernet cable to producing the network connectivity into the different end system or a different devices. Like if you are studying into the schools or colleges, so whenever you will go for the internet lab, so you are getting the internet access at every computer system. So this thing is expanded through the Ethernet cable. They are placing the Ethernet cable up to the end system, and they are placing one large size of switch into the laboratory. So whenever you will go into the lab, so you will find a large size of switch, and then after switch to the Ethernet cable up to the number of separate devices. So that is the example of corporate culture. Same thing available into the companies or any other private organizations. They are using this type of Ethernet internet access network. So it is a famous network again in Ethernet and Wi-Fi. Same thing. They are placing the Wi-Fi routers also. So whenever people want to connect or whenever people want to access the network from like their mobile users like rounding into the organization campus, so they can connect it this type of network by from their laptops or tablets or mobile phones. So whatever the types of network we have discussed, so we have discussed many types of cablings, but if we will look about the uh, in detail, so we can say that that is the transmission medium. It means we are discussing from central offices to the client side, there is expansion of network. So how this network is going to be travel. So we can say that this network access is produced by the two types of medium. One is guided media and another one is unguided media. And this thing is known as a transmission medium. It means service provider is going to transmit the network up to the client. Get it? So this type of transmission is carried out by the two types of media, guided and unguided. If we want to discuss this guided and unguided in simple terms, so in terms of guided media, we can say that that is a wired media. It means it is a physical medium. Whereas in case of unguided media, there is a no use of any wired or any physical media. They are using the air as a traveling of rays, like they are distributing with the Wi-Fi's, or like these are the examples like radio waves, microwaves and infrareds. So these are the examples of unguided media. Whereas if you will look about the guided media, so there are different types of wires like twisted pair copper wire, coaxial cables and fiber optics. So these are the examples of wired media or a guided media. We will discuss both types into the detail, guided and unguided media. Let's start first with the guided media. It is known as a wired media or a physical medium. So first thing, that is a twisted pair copper wire. In case of twisted pair copper wire, it is available into the broadly two categories. First category is a that is unshielded twisted pair cable, and second one is a shielded twisted pair cable. So in terms of twisted pair cable, one question arises in our mind: why this cable is going to be twisted? What is the difference if we will make this wire as a straight? So we can cover more distance whenever we will make the twist. So it will be gone up to the short distance. It means there is a requirement of more cable or more wire. So it will go to the expensive. So why there is a need to make this type of twist? So thing is that whenever we will make two cables parallel, so it will generate a crosstalk with each other. Like in terms of electric wire, whenever you will stand under the high voltage electric line at below side of pole, so you will be able to listen some humming. So that is the effect of whatever the electricity wire is going to be carried. So same thing is here into the network. These cables are carrying the network signals. So whenever signals are traveling from the cable, and if both these cables are parallel with each other, so this cable will generate a crosstalk with each other. So that's why there is need to twist the cables with each other to reducing the crosstalk of cable. Now let's see here what is the difference between unshielded twisted pair cable and shielded twisted pair cable. As per here, that is a common thing. Inside the insulation there is a conductor, but in terms of unshielded twisted pair, here you will not be able to look this type of metal shield. Here in terms of shielded twist paper, there is a cable, there is a metal shield. So here it will be more quality cables like metal shield, as well as plastic cover is available to cover the cable. So now if we will look about the more detail in twisted pair cable, so it is easy to install whenever we want to generate a network. Also it is a low weight cable. Same thing, it is cheaper in cost. So these are the characteristics of twisted pair cable. If we will look about the limitation, so signals, there is attenuation for the signals. It means there is need to use a repeater if we want to if we want to cover the large distance. So we cannot implement this twisted pair cable up to the large distance. In between, after a few length, there is need to place a repeater which can repeat the signals or which can boost the signal. Get it? And another thing, twisted pair cable is used for the low bandwidth network only. If we require the high bandwidth, so we cannot implement the network with the twisted pair copper wire. So this thing is all about the twisted pair copper wire. Next thing, into the physical media, there is a coaxial cable. So there is a little bit different in terms of structure. There is a copper wire. After the copper wire, there is a insulation, and again there is a copper mesh, and then after outside insulation. Basically, there are two types of coaxial cables: thick net coaxial cable and thin net coaxial cable. If we will look about the thick net coaxial cable, so it is very thicker as compared to thin net, and it will cover the more distance. Like we can implement network with the thick net cable up to the 500 meters. So it is a very long distance. But if we want to use thin net, so we can expand it up to the around 185 meters. But if we want to require our network expansion more than 185 meters, so we have to go with the thick net coaxial cable. Actually, it is going to cover more distance as compared to twisted pair. Get it? So there is we are getting little bit more as compared to twisted pair. So another thing, that is a shared cable network. In terms of sharing a cable, we can use the coaxial cable. Another thing, we are getting a high bandwidth, whereas twisted pair cable was with the low bandwidth. In terms of coaxial cable, we can access the bandwidth up to the 400 Mbps. So that is a very good digits. But if we will look about the limitations of coaxial cable, so there is also some limitations, like it is expensive compared to twisted pair. We can implement twisted pair network with the very low cost, but if we will go with the coaxial cable, so we have to spend more money on coaxial cable network as compared to twisted pair. Get it? Another thing, it is not compatible with the twisted pair. Like if we want to make a combination of a coaxial cable and twisted pair, so it is not possible. Like for the few distance or a few length, we are implementing coaxial cable, and then after next length we are implementing twisted pair. So this thing is not possible. Either we have to use twisted pair or we have to choose coaxial. We have to select anyone out of these two. So hope you are understanding about the twisted pair and coaxial cable. One more cable, that is a fiber optic cable. So it is very costly as compared to twisted pair and coaxial cable, but it is worth to expense more as compared to twisted pair and coaxial cable. Why? Because it is carrying the light rays. So whenever we want to implement a network with the very large distance or a very long distance, if we will go with the separate types, so there is two types of optical fiber. One is single node optical fiber and another one is a multi-node fiber optics. Single node fiber optics is providing a length up to the 2 kilometers, and if we want to expand up to the next city, like we want to implement a network from Junagadh to Rajkot, so we can expand it with the multi-node fiber optic. Multi-node fiber optic providing the length of 100 kilometers. Get it? So even we can cover the more cities by using optical fiber. If we will look about the speed, so in terms of single node, we can get the 100 Mbps speed. Whereas if we will look about the multi-node fiber optics, so there we are getting 2 Gbps speed in terms of multi-node fiber optics. So it is very high digits in terms of computer network. Now if we will look about the structure, so these are the light rays. which are traveling under the glass or a plastic material. Now, one more important thing, that is the cladding in the structure, because whatever the light rays you are looking, they are reflecting according to the cladding. Whenever light rays travel inside the cable, so if suppose consider there is a no cladding, so light rays will refracted in place of reflection. If light rays will refracted outside the cable, so we are not getting the proper connectivity up to the next end. So to produce the light rays from one end to another end, so there is need to make cladding on surface of this cable. And whenever light rays will travel inside the cable, so due to the cladding, light rays will reflected from surface, and we can save the light rays from the refraction. Get it? So rather than refraction, we are getting reflection by using the cladding. So cladding is most important part of fiber optics. Another thing, if we will look about the characteristics, so it is in this case it is used for the broadband. It means we are getting a very broad bandwidth inside the optical fiber, so we can expand the network up to the very long distance, as well as it is providing the secure transmission as compared to coaxial and twisted pair cable. And if we will look about the limitation, so whenever suppose fiber optic cable is going to be break, so if we are going to join the cable again, so this joint will be very expensive, because in terms of twisted pair and coaxial cable, we can easily join the two cables, but in terms of fiber optics, it is not possible this type of easy joint. We have to keep in mind that from the joint we have to stop the refraction of this type of light rays, because we are requiring reflection of this light rays. So whenever we are making a joint, so we have to keep in mind, we have to save the light rays from the refraction. So that is most important whenever we are making the joint of fiber optics. So it is very expensive whenever cable is going to be break. Another thing, cost is very high as compared to twisted pair and coaxial cable. Whenever we are implementing network with the twisted pair or coaxial cable, so it is very much cheaper. But whenever we are implementing with the fiber optics, so it will require a very large amount as compared to twisted pair. So hope you are understanding very well about the physical media. We have discussed three types: twisted pair, coaxial and fiber optics. So guys, if you have any query regarding to the physical media, or in next we are going to discuss unguided media, it means wireless media. So you can write your queries me into the comment box. I will try my best to answer your queries. Whatever the figure you are looking, that is the idiotic wall from the Rancho school. In our last session, I have put one figure that was about the Rancho school, which is located into the Ladakh. So these are the idiotic wall from the Rancho school. We are going to discuss unguided media. In terms of unguided media, there is basically three types. One is radio waves, second one is microwaves, and then after infrared. So let's discuss about the radio waves. So it is used for the terrestrial radio channels, and we can say that look like radio waves are the basic categories of the unguided media. Get it? So in terms of, if we will compare unguided media with the guided media, so in terms of guided media, we can save the cables by insulating from the environment effects. But right now, in terms of radio channels or microwaves, signals are traveling into the air. So it is going to be affect with the environment hazards. Get it? So there is possibility of data loss, or fading, look like shadow fading and multipath fading, and some interference of environment. So that is the limitation of unguided media. But let's see in detail about the radio waves. So there are basically three categories of radio waves are used. First one is for the very short distance. It means up to 1 meter to the 2 meter. Get it? And another one that is operate in local areas. It means expansion is uh, broad as compared to the previous one, very short distance. Now, third category that is operate in wide areas. It means up to the tens of kilometers. Look like cellular access technologies whenever we are using the mobile phones. So we are using the this type of radio waves. Whereas in terms of wireless LAN technologies, look like we want to implement the corporate network, look like enterprise network in any bank or any institutional organization or any company. So we can implement it with the second type, that is operate in local areas, tends to few hundred kilometers. As well as if we want to implement at our home, for the home appliances, look like some of the we are using wireless phones or wireless headphones or wireless keyboards. So at that time we can use this type of very short range radio waves. Get it? So basically we can divide it into the three categories. First one is a short wave. Second one is a we can say that it is a very high frequency. And third one is we can say that it is a UHF, ultra high frequency. For the transmitting the radio waves, two things are going to be used. One is transmitter and second one is receiver. Transmitter is transmitting the radio waves. So whenever transmitter is transmitting the radio waves, so transmitter is making encoding from sending side. And whenever receiver is receiving the signals from receiver side, so receiver is making the decoding. Get it? But still there is a few limitations of radio waves because whenever some like malicious attack, like someone extract the signal in between whenever signals are traveling, so that is one limitation. Same thing, this limitation is applicable in the microwaves also, because we are getting the less secure as compared to the wired media, because these signals are traveling from the air. So someone can interpret these signals from the air. If we will look about the characteristics, so radio waves are cheaper in terms of unguided media. Another thing that is as of communication is good. And another thing, it is offer the mobilities, look like we can use for the mobile users also. And if we will look about the satellite radio channels, so two types of radio channels are there and two types of satellites are there. First one, that is a geostationary satellite, and second one, that is a low earth orbiting satellites. So both types of satellites are used into the satellite radio channels. So two types of radio waves, one is for the terrestrial radio waves and second one is for the satellite radio waves. So radio waves are used for the both the purpose. Same thing for the microwaves. Microwaves are also used for the terrestrial channels as well as a satellite. In terms of terrestrial, if we will look about the microwaves, so for the terrestrial microwaves are using the line of sight transmission. Line of sight is a propagation mode. After completing the unguided media, I will explain you into the propagation mode also. There are three types of propagation mode, but right now consider terrestrial microwaves are using line of sight propagation mode. And terrestrial microwaves are using parabolic antenna. That is the one type of antenna. We will also discuss types of antenna. And terrestrial microwaves are covering a long distance as compared to terrestrial radio waves. Terrestrial radio waves used for the very short distance, but by using the microwaves into the terrestrial channels, we can cover more distance as compared to radio waves. Another, that is a satellite microwaves. So in terms of satellite microwaves, we can cover very large distance also in from one country to another country. Like suppose there is a one football match in Brazil. So in India, we can watch that football match by using the satellite microwaves or a satellite channels. That is, satellite microwaves are using earth stations and transponders. Earth stations are stations located into the land, and transponder role of transponder is a sender and receiver. It means both thing is covered by the transponder, sending side and receiving side, both functionalities transponder is going to be cover. So if you will look about the characteristics, so we can transmit the signals over the ocean also. So it is a very large distance we can cover. Another thing, if you will look about the limitation, so there is we are getting the low bandwidth as compared to the wired network. That is a common limitation of unguided media. Another thing we have discussed into the radio channels, like it is a less secure as compared to wired network. So these are the limitations of microwaves signal. Last one, that is infrared. Infrared are using for the very short distance. Look like home appliances, for the like remote of television systems or wireless keyboards or mouse. Somewhere some of the device are operated with the Bluetooth also, but we can use infrared also for this type of devices. So again, infrared is also propagating through the air, but it can't penetrate the wall. Look like you can not use the device into the drawing room from your bedroom. So if you want to operate any device by the infrared into the drawing room, so you have to come out of bedroom and you have to go into the drawing room. So these signals are not able to penetrate the wall, but it is more secure as compared to another unguided media. So that is advantage of infrared system. But now where we will use this entire transmission medium, whatever it should be guided or unguided. So whenever we will discuss OSI model or TCP/IP model, so I will explain you in detail how to use this transmission medium into the layered architecture. But right now consider transmission medium is a medium in between the sender and receiver. Whenever sender want to signal towards the receiver, so they have to choose any type of transmission medium. Either it should be guided media or it should be unguided media. Now there is a propagation mode. Three types of propagation mode. One is ground propagation. That is here you are looking the ionosphere into the air. So in terms of ground propagation, rays are traveling into the surface of ground. Get it? Whereas here rays are traveling into the sky from one tower or a one antenna to the ionosphere, and again reflected from the ionosphere to the another antenna. This thing is known as a sky propagation. Another one we have discussed, that is line of sight propagation. It is not travel up to the ionosphere, but very a few up as compared to the ground surface, and traveling from the one antenna to another antenna, and this thing is known as a line of sight propagation. So ground propagation is up to the 2 megahertz. It means below the 2 megahertz, and above the 2 megahertz there is a sky propagation 2 to 30 megahertz, and above 30 megahertz we can use line of sight propagation. Next thing, that is about the types of antenna. Two types of antenna, omnidirectional and unidirectional. Omnidirectional means we can transmit the signals into the 360 degree. That is omnidirectional antenna. In terms of unidirectional antenna, so we can transmit the signal into the broad band of 180 degree. It means from the straight line 45 degree and another side 90 degree and 90 degree. So we can transmit the signals in one direction only. If we will go into the deep in terms of unidirectional antenna, so again there is two types, dish antenna and horn antenna. In terms of dish antenna, it is using the reflection type of fundamentals, look like we have discussed into the optical fiber network. Whenever you are using the television system, so like Tata Sky or Airtel or any other company, they are placing a dish on your terrace. So these are the example of dish antenna. Another thing, that is a horn antenna. whenever look inside the figure, whenever signal is entering, so again entering the signals, they can reflected into the different direction. So that is about the horn antenna. So guys, hope you are understanding very well. In next session we will continue our topics network edge and network core.